This week on Supercars Talk, the Adelaide 500 is back, BJR announces their co-driving lineup for Bathurst, and it's time to get on the Ferrari hype train. Woo woo! First things first, I am recording this before we've seen any racing over the weekend. So I've only watched F1 qualifying and IndyCar qualifying. And yeah, time to really, Scott McLaughlin's second on the grid. Amazing. And Formula One, turns out Mercedes weren't really sandbagging in, it won't take much to catch back up. But as probably known, I nearly cheer on anybody but Mercedes at the moment. So I found one of my Ferrari shirts to put on. Yeah, great. Bottas as well, like in his customary position there, just behind Hamilton. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens during the races, which we'll know the result of once this comes out. Just on that, on the little side, some of you may have caught, we did a bit of a live stream last Thursday night, looking if time and everything lines up again, looking to continue that on, probably around that kind of 8:30 on a Thursday night, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So at the moment we've got daylight savings and whatever for people around the place, but it went quite well considering, you know, it was a last minute thing. So looking to do something like that again, probably just a little bit of a, you know, talking about other categories rather than just focusing on the supercars. The Adelaide 500 is back. Well, if Labor, the SA Labor government that looks like they've been elected in, if they keep their election promise, it looks like it's going to be back probably the first weekend of December this year. What does this mean for Newcastle? Will they slot in the calendar somewhere this year, or will they just go over to next year? Also, there's a big question mark still on what's happening with Pukekohe. Looks like we will be going all the way to Perth at some point this year, but whether we actually go, you know, across to the seventh state and give those New Zealand fans what they've been missing out for the last couple of years, that's all still a little bit up in the air. But I mean, I don't like to get politics into this, but yeah, that little election promise of having the Adelaide 500 back, that's a great thing for our sport. That was really a showcase event. And I think if you've got, say, Newcastle kicking off the season, you got Gold Coast towards the end, and then you're finishing in Adelaide, that's just spectacular. I know a lot of people don't like the street circuits, but yeah, they're great showpieces, I suppose, for our sport. BJR has confirmed their co-drivers for Bathurst coming up. Dale Wood has been confirmed with Jaime. That one was quite expected because Dale was signed on a 2-year contract for that team, so it makes sense to put him with the lead car. Jordan Boys is going to be joining in with Macca, and Dean Fiore has been signed to go along Bryce Fullwood. Yeah, not a bad lineup. It's also looking like, because Jordan Boys has gone missing from Super 2, it's looking like he's trying to put together a wild card program in there for a couple of main game starts this year, because his idea was that, you know, kind of starting 2 main game rounds is probably better than doing a full season of Super 2 at this point in his career, just because of the amount of Ks you get over a main game weekend and the learnings you get from that racing with the top guys. Roland Dane has come out complaining that there's no females on the new look Supercars board. There's never been any females in the past. You know, when you were on the board, you weren't pushing for it, were you? The cynic in me with this one, obviously this is, you know, something we should have female representation on there because we want to get, you know, more fans into the sport and that. But the cynic in me is saying this is kind of his, you know, trying to push to get Jess onto the board there. And, you know, he goes on about female blah, blah, blah and all that. And he was the one who, at the 11th hour pulled the pin on, Simona going to his team and having a really proper car to have a crack with, just because there was a bit of a budget shortfall there that, if it was my money, I probably would have done the same thing. But, on this kind of forum, you say, well, you would have found the money, Roland. You would have made it happen in time. So, there's a bit, you can't have it both ways. And that's where it just seems a little bit cynical that now he's kind of pushing, because Triple Eight haven't got representation on the board. And you do wonder, say, okay, there's no females. It's not going to be Jess, but we're going to put Betty on the board. Would he have the same attitude towards us needing a female on the board then? Barry Rogers has come out and said that they might have to sell the S5000 category overseas if the super license system isn't changed for the V8s. What? I didn't think S5000 was set up as a feeder category to supercars. That's what, Super 2 and Super 3 are for. If you want a career in supercars, you go off and do, start in Super 3, go to Super 2, you might start off in 86s or something like that and work your way up. Granted, if you're a really special case, someone like Simona, you can kind of backdoor the system and get through. If you're a Matt Charter, you can't just, special case it through the system. Or Nathan Hearn didn't get his super license. But really think they're missing the point. I saw a lot of commenters say, about like Formula Holden back in the days, guys like Bridie, Lowndes, Larkham, trying to think who else. Anyway, there was a lot of guys. The Kellys came through. They did Formula Holden first. But back in those days, there was no Super 2, no Super 3. So that was a natural kind of progression. You went and did Formula Ford, you did Formula Holden, and then, you made the jump up. That was how it worked. Nowadays, there's a bit of a different system. So I think they're really missing the point of, wasn't S5000 supposed to be for, old blokes who were reliving like the 60s and 70s when open wheelers were the main category in it? If we were looking for a proper feeder category for Australia, we would have F4 and F3, and there would be no need for these ridiculous, but S5000 as a category, I'm not sure how it works. It's, a bespoke thing to Australia. It doesn't feed anyone. For a younger driver, why would you do it? Because you can't go overseas and go, hey, I raced S5000, I'm awesome kind of thing. It just misses the point kind of, and I'm not sure why all of a sudden, we've got to sell it overseas if they don't change the super license system, because who's really in the category that's trying to get to supercars that wouldn't be better off, going and doing even Toyota 86s or something? You'd potentially be better off racing in that rather than, going to S5000 to try and get a supercar seat. Anyway, there will be some racing this weekend. Back again. We're going down to Tasmania, and for everybody who's excited to see the Gen 3 cars, the Camaro will have a new paint job. Whoop-de-doo! It does actually look pretty good, but the least of the issues at the moment is the actual paint job on that car. They have made some adjustments to it so that the taller drivers or taller and bigger drivers will fit in the car a bit easier. Garth Tander and I think Brodie Kostecki are actually going to have a spin in it down in Tasmania to see whether there has made any differences and whether it is better. And apparently Marcus Ambrose is going to jump in behind the wheel of the Mustang for a few laps as well. It's just exciting to see someone like Marcus back behind the wheel, even if it is just doing demo laps in the new car. So the predictions for Tasmania. Premier Racing is going to be on top. Seriously, I think after last year, Waters had a couple of poles, Shane van Gisbergen had the other one, and then the race wins went to Shane, Jamie and Chaz. So Jamie's not there. Brock's, I'm predicting Brock's really going to struggle this weekend, I think. It's a little bit of a different, the kind of bull ring of Symmons Plains. It's, going to be a bit more of a challenge for the rookie, I think. I'm going to say it's going to be an outright fight between Chaz and Shane. I want to say that Cam and Tickford are going to be battling, but I can see them struggling a little bit. My dark horse, Frosty, he's had some really good runs in Team 18 machinery down there in the past. Yeah, I think we're going to see a bit more of the same as what we saw, earlier on. I think it's just going to continue a bit like that. And will we see Percat kind of getting up there a bit more? It definitely has not been a happy hunting ground for him in the past, but he's at BJR specific. We can assume though that Walkinshaws, because that was one of the few tracks that they were really competitive at last year, I think they're really going to be in the battle, and I think we're going to really start to see that kind of ding dong fight that we want to see between Shane and someone who's going to really take it to him. So that's my prediction. There will be a fight between those two for over the whole weekend. So that's my tip. Down in the comments, let me know what you think. Also, are you guys actually interested in seeing some live streams? If it's a bit more, it probably won't be as Supercars focused. We'll probably chat a bit more about general motorsport, like Formula One and IndyCar, what kind of happens during the week, and you can jump on there and ask us some questions and things like that. But yeah, let me know down in the comments if you're interested in that, and let me know who you think's going to win over the weekend. But that's enough for now. I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.